What is the truth? Do you realize that most of your life you've been living a lie? Yeah, a lie. You see, your subconscious mind doesn't care if something's true. It only cares how often it's repeated. When we hear a lie enough times, it starts to feel like reality. And unless we wake up and question the source, we're screwed. When we train our awareness to challenge every belief that we didn't consciously choose, we start to reclaim our power. The thing that's really become apparent to me is that you see in Hinduism, Buddhism, they talk about this as a virtual reality that we create. And we do create that. We create it through how we focus our lives, our perception of life in front of us. And most of that perception has been what other people have told us. I remember being in the corporate world, and my boss at the time, the president, would say something over and over again. It wasn't true. Soon, the other VPs would start repeating it, and it became a fact. And when you challenge that, they didn't like it. They had no proof. It's the same thing that happens to you. You hear things repeated in the news over and over and over again, and you believe them, and they're all one-sided. No one's giving you a complete picture. Think about this. Ozempic will help you get thin. And you hear that over and over and over again. And maybe you've been struggling with your weight a long time and you believe it's true. But you didn't remember all the side effects. You didn't remember that you're going to have to take it for life. And so what you thought was true, was going to make you thin and happy, turned out to be a lie. That's why everything in our lives we have to examine over and over and over again. Plato said a daily practice should be that you empty your mind of every thought, and then every day examine each of these thoughts before you put them back in your mind. Because what you're going to find out eventually, that everything you're thinking, you know it's an opinion. The only thing you know for sure is that you're aware. There's something in you, deep within you, that's aware, that sees your body. There's something in you right now as you're watching this that sees my face on the camera or hears my voice through the speaker. You're aware that that's happening. But you're not anything but that awareness. You're not that body. You're not your thoughts. You're not your emotions. You're not your beliefs. You're the awareness of them. That, I believe, is true. That's about the only thing I know to be true. Everything else we make up. And you're going to struggle with this, just like I do, because you think it's real. Quantum physics says there's nothing solid. Everything is just waves of energy vibrating based on the frequency. So the earth is a wave of energy that's got a frequency that, because you're much lighter and you come down on it, it holds you in place. We start to study these things and we realize that what we were taught at one point was not true. Everything is changing all the time. And in order to live in this life and have any type of sense of fulfillment, we've got to learn to challenge everything and see what is the highest expression of me, not what someone else wants me to be. You're not here to be like your wife wants you, or your husband wants you, or your partner wants you, or your children want you, or your parents want you. You were born unique. You're here to be you. But you got to let go of all the lies you've been told, because otherwise you're not authentic. And if you're not authentic, you're not true to yourself. If you're not true to yourself, how are you going to have any self-love? Everything begins and ends with self-love. Don't think that's being selfish, because if you don't claim your power, you don't claim your truth, no one else will. It's your job. It's not anyone else's job. And your job is not to help others claim it. You can support them, but by God, you better be doing your own work. Because if you're not self-loving, and when I talk about love, I'm saying this, the awareness and acceptance of your wholeness. Until you are aware and you accept your wholeness, you got nothing to give. Nothing to give but lies. Contemplate that today. Think about it. And see where you want to take yourself in this world. Because you're the only one that can choose for you. Remember that. No one knows your path. There is no path but the one you choose. Much love and aloha.